Welcome to another edition of Vivus Vita, Living Life. Today's topic is about how we feel when we look into the future, a future that is often, if not always, shrouded in mist. Like most, I imagine you have been subject to bouts of anxiety. More than once, I am sure. You are not alone. It is natural to be apprehensive about the future. After all, it is the unknown. Can you say you have never wondered where your life is going and where and in what state it will end? I certainly have. Despite what some may say, there is no way of our knowing for sure. We may make assumptions and hope, but there is never any certainty. Life constantly changes. Mine certainly has, many more times than I would have liked. It matters not where we are on its path, young, middle-aged, or older, change will always happen. A variety of unforeseen situations, events, and circumstances can arise. Whether negative or positive, all have an effect. They can undermine our best-laid plans or speed them on to a destination not previously considered or anticipated. I have encountered that one far too often. Or they may simply confirm the path we have chosen to follow. To be clear, though I use the word apprehension, people have many different words for describing their feelings: worried, concerned, nervous, anxious, uneasy, frightened, butterflies, tummy wobbles, and more. I have used several in my time. The currently popular term is anxious. Anxiety, or whichever term we choose to use, is a part of normal life. None of us is exempt. Do not believe anyone who says they are. As I said earlier, it is natural to have some degree of anxiety about the future and future events. There are no end of situations that can cause anxiety. It could be an upcoming examination, job interview, I know that one very well, social event, blind date, medical appointment, or something specific to us, the individual. Sometimes it is just an uneasy feeling about the future and what it will bring. That could be about long-term social standing and acceptance, ill health, old age, and so on. For some of us, it may result from past experience, especially where it has been traumatic. For us, anxiety has become part of who we are and will usually remain part of us. I wish it were otherwise, but it is the reality, in my experience at least. That does not mean our lives are limited. Most of us go on to live fairly successful lives, though these may be different from what we originally foresaw or hoped for. Anxiety, or whichever way you like to describe it, worry, concern, nervousness, and so on, is not an illness. It is simply a part of life. I am sure you, along with most of us, has lived or do live day-to-day life with some degree of anxiety hovering in the background without it hindering what we want or need to do. My life's events have inevitably led to my having good reason to be constantly anxious about what may be ahead. However, as I've clearly stated, I have been able to live a reasonable life even with the constant presence of that anxiety. There is no point getting ourselves into a tizzy because of anxiety. I appreciate that can be far from easy. However, anxiety does not or should not be allowed to stop us from living our lives. We just need to acknowledge it is there and understand it is natural to feel a degree of apprehension when we do not know what the result of some event or the future in general is likely to be. We should be the ones in control of our lives, not our anxiety. I know, easy to say, but not always easy to do. The fact is, though it may not always seem like it, we are able to put our concerns in their rightful place. not by denying them, but by recognizing that our concern, worry, anxiety, or whatever cannot and will not change what will be, and also by accepting that whatever we are worried about does not always bear the negative outcome we feared. Even if it does, we can deal with it. We are far stronger than we often credit ourselves with. I have frequently surprised myself. Though anxiety is part of normal life, it can sometimes be allowed to get out of control, where someone really cannot break the hold it has over them, and it is limiting their life. Professionals recommend they talk to a therapist. I have never done that, but recognize that there is no shame in doing so. It may help to remember we are by no means the only ones struggling with anxious thoughts. Some of you may balk at this, but from my own experience and observations, I may safely say that anxiety is not as big a problem as many make out. Of course, it is unpleasant and not something we want, but we can live with it without it controlling our lives. Most of us do. Very often, what we feared the outcome would be is not the result. You have probably experienced that truth for yourself. Even if the result is as we feared, the fact we are still here shows that we can cope and survive. As I pointed out earlier, we are able to handle far more than we think we can. I am proof of that. We should not be afraid of our anxiety. It is a natural part and a valid part of who we are and simply shows we are as human as everyone else. Copyright T.R. Robinson, all rights reserved. Disclaimer: these musings are based upon personal experience. There has been no input from a psychologist, therapist, or anyone trained in any related discipline. Anyone who is finding their anxiety hard to cope with or manage is advised to seek professional help.